Hello CoH fans and welcome to Common Affairs Gamecast. I'll be your host, RMKG, and today we have a game on Langres on the Balance Beta patch between players TOMITOMA and IIEXITIIIBartonPL. Player TOMITOMA, of course, former GameReplays.org German champion, holds the #1 position on the leaderboards as Americans. He's a very good player overall at BartonPL. An equally good player holds the 41 position on the Wehrmacht leaderboard with an impressive win-to-loss ratio. A very good player as well. Both of these players have been around for quite a while, so I expect nothing short of a great play by either of these. So let's go into the game. We're past the 5-second mark. We'll be unpausing 3, 2, 1, go. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So before we go into the game, a quick plug, or rather a dispersion of information. Inverse, which you most probably know as a commentator, as an FPVOD creator, as a as a moderator on GameReplays.org for the shoutcasting section, has a guide out on how to broadcast your games on Justin TV. So if you are up to the task and you want to let the others see how you play, then that's the opportunity that you have been looking for. And of course all that comes with in conjunction with Hicksi's broadcasting site, which of course is a site that harvests information out of the streaming websites on the web, so you can actually see who's actually broadcasting at each moment of the day. I'll have both the links to the guide as well as to Hicksi's broadcast site in the description of this video, so if you want to broadcast yourself or want to see some other people broadcasting, including some of the best players in Company of Heroes, then that's the thing to do. So let's go into the game, where we see Contador or TOMITOMA doing his usual opening with the Wehrmacht quarters to the east portion of his base, and opening with an MG42, 2 Pioneers, and a bike. The bike, of course, will complement the MG42 in his attempt to fend off the oncoming squads of riflemen and engineers, and his Pioneers will just freely cap the map for this moment. MG42 kind of attempting to go for the west, most probably looking for an early cap on the high munition point there by the American player. Does not seem to be finding anything, so it repositions towards the center of the map, continually moving. I think now TOMITOMA has got a glimpse of the engineer squad, and that squad of engineers will be fended off rather quickly, although BartonPL is going to delay the it's going to stall for the Wehrmacht forces there to stay there a bit longer, giving his riflemen, of course, the opportunity to go for the medium fuel point in the west portion, it's the east portion of the map, and those riflemen will most probably get the decap off before the MG42 sets up and suppresses them, or rather pins them, because squads can actually decap while suppressed. That is actually true, contrary to popular belief. Now the second squad of riflemen manages to sneak behind the Wehrmacht line, the MG42 repositions, thereby giving the first squad of riflemen the ability to get out of suppression. However, a squad of Volks has complemented the Wehrmacht army, and those riflemen, being blocked by the bike as well, will have no chance against those Volks. MG repositioning again, facing the second squad of riflemen, and that American early pressure is dealt with in a rather in good fashion with a display of very good micro capabilities by the Wehrmacht player. MG42 moving forward, bike scouting in the front, so the third squad of riflemen will most probably be suppressed once again by the MG42. And yes, that is the case, and of course that gives the ability to the Wehrmacht player to move up with his Volks grenadiers and actually take on those riflemen, even take cover in the building if he so chooses, and that's exactly what he does to be a little bit more safe against the oncoming rifleman squads. Another MG42 out by the Wehrmacht player, his fourth unit out, of course. And the American player seems to be sticking with rifle play for the moment. Let's see if he's gonna change it up, get a WSC maybe, or for some snipers, some mortars. He doesn't seem to be doing so. There's another unit building out of the barracks, so that's of course will mean that he's gonna be going for 4 riflemen, 2 engineers into something else later. Second MG42 creeping up, reaching the position of the first MG42. Bike still hanging around. Squad of riflemen being suppressed by the second MG42, repositioning by the first MG42 most probably into the building, folks nearby. No cutoff, surprisingly enough for the American player. The Wehrmacht player does not really seem to overextend with his Volksgrenadier trying to go for the throat at these early moments of the game, and rightfully so. He probably wants to play it a little bit more safe, not really trying to cause that much of a pressure on the American player, for fear of course of the American player pulling off a flank successfully and driving him off the field, something which would not be good at all, since if you are driven off the field as a Wehrmacht player, then when you come back everything is capped in favor of the American player. A squad of pioneers in danger of going down in the east portion of the bump against those riflemen, but the prompt retreat by the Wehrmacht player is going to be enough. We will have a 5th unit out for the Wehrmacht player, which is another Volk squad that made their way to the west portion of the map, along with a squad of pioneers that are also upgraded with minesweepers. So player TOMITOMA really paying attention to not being thrown off by mines around the map, to not take that manpower damage on his Volks and his MG42s or even his pioneers by those early mines of the American player. Early mines that we have seen by the medium fuel point to this portion of the map, and that is most probably all. I don't see any more mines by the American player. A squad of Volks being driven off by their position in the building towards the west portion of the map, since those 2 rifleman squads just closed in on the distance rather boldly and took on those Volks head on. And we have the first upgrade for those riflemen, and of course it's the BAR, the Browning Automatic Rifle, coming into play at the 6 minute 32, 33, 34 second mark. Actually, it came into play earlier, but I just did the timesync right now. MG42 repositioning, fending off riflemen, trying to decap the strategic sector to the west of the Wehrmacht player's base, and successfully doing so, cutting him off from the high munition point there, which is it's a resource situation that you never want to be found in playing as the Wehrmacht player, being starved for munitions or even fuel, since the munition is gonna be necessary in case you need to use some of your doctrinal abilities, most probably and most frequently for the fatherland. Although the Wehrmacht player does well with his MG42s and his Volks for the time being, he was not really in a situation that actually demanded him investing in a doctrine rather early and getting out and using for the fatherland or something in that regard. We even have a 6th unit out from the Wehrmacht quarters for the Wehrmacht player, and that is a sniper. A sniper, of course, will be another issue for the American player to deal with. The manpower drain will be all that more, will come at an increased rate. And we even have the Wehrmacht player taking up to tier 3 and getting most probably a Sturm Armory and some Pumas, having seen those bars, that is. Although I'm not so certain about Pumas being really needed with all those MG42s, the sniper and the Volks on the field. Minor attempt at the flank by the American player kind of catches the Wehrmacht player off guard. However, the sniper will make its way behind the hedges there, although it took some damage in the process. It would be good now if the Wehrmacht player the American player actually focused down the pioneers that were trying to build a bunker there, but he does not seem to be doing so. He rather focuses the MG42, who will most probably decrew the MG42. However, the sniper is still around, the MG42 is still around, the bunker is still being built, or rather not. Yes, it is being built. Kill the pioneers. No, the pioneers do not die. The bunker is up. This bunker is gonna be a pain to deal with. The American player will most probably need demolition charges, some mortars, or some fire from an AT gun. We have a doctrine coming into play for the Wehrmacht player, and that is defensive, although I do not see any for the fatherland being used yet, and that is because those 50 munitions are only important for the Wehrmacht player to lay down some mines or get his upgrade. on his med bunker or something in that regard, so he won't be using for the fatherland. He had actually fended off the American attack rather easily, with not rather easily, rather safely. And although both his MG42s were decrewed, he still has the ability to get them back with his two Folk Grenadiers that are still in the field. He of course reinforces from the defensive med bunker that is on the field there, so no need to go back into his base to do that. He's still cut off from the west portion of the map, however, at the medium munition point there. And the American player has now actually taken the opportunity to reinforce his riflemen, heal them up with his tri-center, and actually start building his supply yard. Supply yard, of course, kind of late, but in that process and in the attempt of the Wehrmacht player to fend off that flank near his med bunker, he actually has not built his Sturm armor yet. So that's, of course, good news for the Wehrmacht player, because that means that no Pumas will be on the field anytime soon. So that will give the Wehrmacht player the American player the ability to utilize some of his flanking without fear of getting his men being gunned down by the Pumas rather quickly. An attempt at the flank, however, meets an MG42 at the front. However, the MG42 still takes fire. Is getting decrewed. Flame engineers moving in from the east will be facing a sniper MG42 as well. MG42 at the front being decrewed by the fire of those riflemen that were still suppressed, but that does not mean that they cannot fire. The riflemen closing in from the south of the map, trying to gun down the sniper or something like that. The MG42, however, has promptly repositioned and will be trying to do so again and face to the north. If grenades had come into play for the American player, that would be a very good opportunity to use them. However, the American player does not have grenades. He tries to focus down the MG42 riflemen that were previously suppressed from the frontal MG42, move in towards the action. Second MG42 get decrewed, mine being hit by the riflemen. Those riflemen at really low squad members, and they will have to retreat. However, the American player got out of these what exactly an MG42 mostly, and not that much of a manpower drain on the Wehrmacht player at all, since he even has his med bunker there, so he can replenish those fallen Folk Grenadiers and MG42 members with the amazing Grenadiers coming out of the med bunker, that is. Of course, that fuel income for the American player meant that he has decked up to more, I would like to say motor pool, but it's actually tank depot. So we will be seeing some Sherman action most probably anytime now, although the Puma is on the field. Puma, of course, is gonna be nightmare for those riflemen, provided it is microed correctly and it's not get stigged or something in that regard. So those riflemen will need to be all that more careful on how they approach the Wehrmacht position. However, the point still stands that the Wehrmacht player currently has only one MG42 rather than the previously two, so that's going to be something that the American player will need to exploit to the fullest. We even see some riflemen laying down mines to the west portion of the map, which is of course an indication that the American player has gone for infantry. So infantry versus defensive, a very common matchup in 2.601, and we see that once again in the balanced beta pods, which is nothing short of surprising, I would say, since that early bar pressure by the American player, if pulled off correctly, it still stands that the Wehrmacht player needs to respond somehow without losing his position on the field, meaning that he had to retreat one of the flanks. So most of the times you will see the Wehrmacht players going for defensive and using that for the fatherland ability to try to stay strong during a flank. Second unit out of the Sturm Armory is a Stug. Of course, the Stug will be used to put an extra pressure onto the Wehrmacht forces, or even counter any form of armor that comes out of the what was I saying? Of the American player, which is actually something that TOMITOMA has actually inferred from the American player so far. I mean, you see rifleman upgrades, you see that bars, but you don't see grenades, you don't see any motor pool units, you don't see any T-guns. You should suspect that he is opting to go for a tank depot. We even have the first squad of grenadiers coming out of the med bunker, so those grenadiers will of course be able to be equipped with panzershrecks. The Wehrmacht has that munition resource income that allows him to get even 2 panzershrecks if he so wishes. But for the time being, he will be retreating from this portion of the map with those with that squad. Wow. We had the squad of Wehrmacht infantry going down. I'm not exactly where that was. Probably gonna catch it in a picture or something like that. In any case, false grenadiers retreating. American player making a move for this portion of the map, trying to dig up the medium fuel point there, and also preparing for a flank. While all this was happening, Stug will be making a move towards the M10. Panzerschreck has been upgraded on those grenadiers. Artillery coming down in the position of the med bunker as well as the Stug. M10 is out of control. However, the last shot before it goes down manages to take out the Stug. American player not retreating with that single squad of riflemen that was capping the medium fuel point under fire, and they go down to the fire of the Puma as well as the grenadiers and the Folks. And now with no M10 and a squad of riflemen down, the American player needs to focus more on not only on his harassment, which